Hello everyone, this is my review for Monday Night Raw on May 19th, 2014, and since I haven't been doing the reviews recently, after the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, WWE's pretty much hit the restart button versus the reset button, which they did after WrestleMania with a lot of their storylines. And don't get me wrong, at this point with some of these storylines, I don't mind it because they've been really good, especially with Bray Wyatt and John Cena and the Shield and Evolution. They've been working a very good program together, and I'm glad to see that it's continuing on for multiple pay-per-views at this point. So we'll see where they definitely go with it. I didn't really care for how they decided to go with this week's match with the Shield and Evolution. It didn't come off that bad, but it was just something that I didn't really care for in the end, which was basically, they made it seem like it was going to be a one-on-one match, and then Triple H and Randy Orton become the guest timekeeper and guest ring announcer, while the rest of the Shield members become the guest commentators. So that was a little silly and whatnot, but they had to try something different in there. I like the match that they went with for the pay-per-view this time around, which is going to be the no holds barred elimination tag rules match. I think that's going to turn out to be another fantastic match at the pay-per-view. It gives it a little bit of a different twist with the elimination styles, giving somebody a potential giving that match a potential for having the 2-on-1 or 3-on-2, 2-on-1, or 3-on-1 situation, or whatever way they decide to go with it. So it will, and it also plays into the whole aspect of Evolution trying to eliminate each member of the Shield and trying to get rid of them into the in just trying to get rid of them in general. So we'll see how they go with it next week for the final Raw, and then of course then we'll get to see the pay-per-view match, which should be a good one. And again, with the John Cena and Bray Wyatt area, I like where they're going. I really been liking where they're going with it. The Last Man Standing match rules is a great idea. I love the stuff that they did going into the Extreme Rules pay-per-view last month with the whole kids choir and everything, and now playing up and continually playing on with the whole world's in his hands deal. With Bray Wyatt, I just like where they're going with it. The Last Man Standing match area is something that they probably needed to go into. Hopefully, in this case, I think they're going for a program that's going to go into at least till SummerSlam. So maybe they'll do something next month where it's actually maybe not on the pay-per-view or special event, whatever they want to call it now. But maybe they'll have some kind of 6-man or something in there just to freshen it up a little bit before they have the final blow-off at SummerSlam. And of course, with the Usos being on John Cena's side, it's looking more likely that they're going to put Eric Rowan and Luke Harper into the actual tag team title picture, which it obviously won't be a bad one, because we've seen the matches that they've had Eric Rowan and Luke Harper have had in the past, so they do a really good job. Luke Harper had another really good match with John Cena this week. It came off as a really good match on Raw. So honestly, those storylines are progressing quite well. Other than that, I mean, there was one other thing I really did like on Raw, which was the Beat the Clock challenge to name the #1 contender for the Intercontinental title. Obviously, they didn't have time to build an actual feud, since they had already done the rematch with Big E and Wade Barrett. So having this Beat the Clock challenge match kind of worked just like that Intercontinental title tournament did to determine the #1 contender last month. It works as a quick way to give a reason. And give a reason for this person to be going for the Intercontinental title. They won this Beat the Clock challenge style rules area in there, and it's a good quick way of doing it without necessarily giving them a budding feud that they've built up over the last few months. Now, obviously, they had RVD go over and win the Beat the Clock challenge. I'm not sure I would have really gone with RVD, but it works in one aspect that they're obviously trying to build Wade Barrett as some kind of, bigger Intercontinental champion than they've, done in the past. So it works on the aspect that you had this veteran who can potentially put Wade Barrett over in the end. So we'll see how they decide to go on with their match. Hopefully it'll be a good one. RVD still puts on some pretty decent matches in there, and of course Wade Barrett's really good himself. So we'll see what happens with that one. Cesaro going with Sheamus at this point. I like the match that they did this week. I'm not too keen on how they have Paul Heyman in there. Because it looked like they were building Cesaro to become this face character, but he's kind of staying heel with this whole Paul Heyman thing, and he basically is just getting the heat by continually boasting about Brock Lesnar beating the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. That's all it seems to be at this point. And then, Cesaro's really good in the ring, but I don't think they've really been building Cesaro all that well since they put him with Paul Heyman. It doesn't seem to be working in my mind, but they're obviously trying to push him towards a United States title feud with Sheamus at this point, which hopefully, if done right, will be a really fun feud to watch. But we'll have to see where that goes into the future in that sense. The match this week was, again, a pretty good one. The one on main event was actually really good as well. So hopefully they'll continue on putting on good quality matches, and they'll come up with some kind of decent storyline in there as well. And now it seems as if they're going to be, and also it seems as if they're going to be running two Divas feuds at this point as well. The one that I think that's working out will probably work out really well, especially the way they're going with it right now, is the Alicia Fox and Paige one. I liked you've seen the changes in Alicia Fox over the last few weeks with her facing Paige, losing, and then having her go explode and everything, do some kind of temper tantrum and explode on the camera. She was actually getting some reactions from the crowd, which you don't typically see with the Divas. And then, of course, this week it was another good way of building some heat for Alicia Fox by having her actually beat Paige in a one-on-one match. You're in England and everything, so Paige is going to be more over than she already is, and it just gives a potential for having Alicia Fox try to build a little bit more heat in there. And it's nice to see that they're trying to work programs with divas that don't necessarily go with the Total Divas area, or even just with AJ Lee at that point. So it's nice to see that they're building two different storylines. The one with Paige and Alicia Fox, I think, is probably going to be a lot better, or at least comes off better to me in this sense, because you're actually getting reactions from the crowd. The one with Layla and Summer Rae, honestly, I see what they did the week before with Fandango and Layla in the ring, but it just came off really weird. At least to me, it came off really weird on camera. Just the way it made Fandango, who's a complete heel, seem like a face in this case. And then obviously I guess they just did that so they could bring in Summer Rae to eventually feud with her, which they did this week. And that didn't. Honestly, I don't know how well that's going to come off, but it could be an interesting one. We'll see where they go with that as well. This is going to lead me to where they're going with Daniel Bryan. Obviously, last week they had the deal where Daniel Bryan says he's going in for neck surgery. Obviously, some people feel it's a work, some people feel it's legit. Whichever one it actually is, they're playing it up quite well. And I like the whole deal with them playing Daniel Bryan's music and then having Stephanie McMahon come out. That was a great added little touch in there to just tease the crowd that he was going to be there, and then you get that little heelish disappointment with Stephanie McMahon, and then her cutting the promo. It's like, oh, she's not gonna, she was gonna strip him of the title, and here's people she could give the belt to, and then it's like, no, I'm not gonna strip him yet. I'm gonna have him come on Raw the next week to relinquish the title, and we'll see where they actually go with that. This will probably determine whether or not, it's a legitimate deal, which honestly I feel like it's a legit deal. He had a neck injury, he got the surgery done, and then, and is going to need some time off. So they're probably going to have him just get rid of the belt, or they're going to do something where she strips him of the title next week. I think they're holding off stripping him of the title for the moment, so they don't, because they have their feud set going into the pay-per-view, and they don't really need the title to be part of it at this point, so they can hold off a pay-per-view and hold it up in the at the next one, which I believe is Money in the Bank. So we'll see where they go. We'll see where they go with it. I think they'll strip him of the title next week, and then they'll set up something for the next pay-per-view for putting the title on someone. And then obviously Daniel Bryan will come back and will probably be right in that title picture once again. So we'll see where they go with it. And honestly, I felt this week's Raw actually, with the helpful nature of the crowd, and you had had them getting behind even the new characters with Adam Rose and everything. You had the aspect of the crowd getting behind the different characters and doing the different chants for everything. And actually some of the programs themselves and some of the storylines progressed really well this week, and are leading pretty well going into Payback. So it came off as a pretty decent Raw this week. And yeah, that's my review this week for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.